Dear Chancellor, please don't raise taxes in your budget next month. And also, please sir, can we have some more economic support, that is? That's a polite request from think tank Institute for Fiscal Studies, which is calling on Rishi Sunak to use his budget on the 3rd of March to deliver a targeted extension of government support. Why do we need this additional government support? Well, it's designed to tackle what the IFS calls a triple challenge to the economy. That's Brexit, COVID, and climate change. Rather than raising taxes in his budget, the IFS wants Sunak to focus on supporting the UK's economic recovery from lockdown. They say that despite record peacetime levels of public borrowing, the Chancellor is going to actually need to borrow more money to spend on helping the UK economy adjust to the various challenges ahead, the impact of Brexit, the lasting hangover from COVID, and meeting targets to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. It's quite a lot to ask for. Part of this requested package of support includes an extension to the coronavirus jobs retention scheme, furlough, taking it beyond its end of April deadline. The furlough scheme has already provided support to 10 million jobs and 1 million businesses since it was introduced last March. The IFS is far from alone in calling for a furlough extension. Business groups, trade unions and the Labour Party have all requested an extension in recent weeks. While the IFS believes that the furlough scheme should be removed eventually, it wants to see the support gradually phased out to protect jobs and to protect economic growth. On the £20 a week top-up for universal credit, which is scheduled to come to an end next month, the IFS said there was no need to phase this out. Rishi Sunak is coming under growing pressure to make that £20 a week uplift, which was introduced as a temporary measure, to make it permanent in his budget next month. The IFS said, given that basic support for the childless unemployed has not risen in 50 years, as earnings have more than doubled, and is much less generous than in many comparable countries, there is a case for maintaining this increase. If Sunak keeps the universal credit uplift in place, it will cost the Treasury around £6.5 billion in the long term. However, allowing the temporary uplift to end would hit 6 million low-income families. It would hit them hard, with some quite dire forecasts out there of increased levels of poverty, especially for children. Turning to the next phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, the recovery phase, Paul Johnson, a director at the IFS, said, in the recovery phase, he needs to support jobs and investment, but also crucially needs to recognise and address the multiple inequalities exacerbated by the crisis. Longer term, the IFS pointed out that public finances are not on a sustainable footing due to the economic damage caused by the pandemic. They also point to the growing pressure on public services of an ageing population. Big tax rises will be necessary in the future as the Chancellor starts to balance his books. The IFS says that as much as £60 billion in tax rises could be needed to deal with enduring weaknesses in revenues for the Exchequer, while also keeping price inflation low. But they said there is a significant amount of uncertainty around the lasting economic impacts of COVID, so Sunak should not commit to making permanent changes now. Paul Johnson continued, it is possible that growth will be fast enough that big fiscal deficits will largely dissipate of their own accord, but that is not a central expectation. More likely, we are on track for ongoing unsustainable deficits. For now, Mr. Sunak needs to focus on support and recovery. A reckoning in the form of big future tax rises is highly likely, but not as yet inevitable. Responding to these proposals from the IFS, a Treasury spokesperson said, at the upcoming budget, we'll outline the next stages of our plan for jobs to support businesses and families across the UK. That has been our priority throughout the past year, and it will be the priority for the year to come. What do I think is likely to happen at the budget in a couple of weeks' time? I can see Rishi Sunak making a tentative start with his tax-raising plans, but I don't think that the Chancellor will fully switch on these tax hikes. Those will likely follow later, possibly as soon as the autumn, during a second annual budget. One place Rishi Sunak might start this March is corporation tax. I've talked about this before. There is scope to increase the rate of corporation tax above its current level of 19%, and at the same time for the UK to remain competitive. The nice thing about a corporation tax hike is it gets charged on company profits, so any higher rate of corporation tax is only paid by profitable businesses. A corporation tax hike might also encourage profitable businesses businesses to go out and spend and invest some of their money. And the Chancellor could incentivise this spending activity by offering some tax breaks to businesses to buy certain things, stuff that supports the economic recovery process. Much will also depend on the so-called roadmap, due to be revealed by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Monday. We'll be glued to our television sets to find out the plan for reopening schools, for reopening shops. What are you expecting to hear from Chancellor Rishi Sunak in the budget next month? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, I'm Martin Bamford, and remember, when it comes to your money, the more you know, the faster it can grow.